All right, what is up, everybody, and welcome into this edition of SoFlo Comedy Insiders. Guys, this show coming to you live from the Black Studio here in South Miami, courtesy of the community newspapers. Guys, I am your host, Sebastian Alvarez, and I am joined by my co-host, as I am for all things comedy calendar / SoFlo Comedy Insider related, Art Roche. How you doing today, Art?
Hi, I'm feeling pretty good, Sebastian. I'm trying to get some sponsorship from a new foundation that supports young ladies who are trying to pay for their way through school. So more to come soon. I'll have more information on that in a couple of weeks.
Congratulations, Art. That sounds like absolutely fantastic and glorious work. Good for you.
Thank you.
Good for you. Doing it for a good cause. And we're doing something that is a really good cause here today on the SoFlo Comedy Insider Show, because our guest is producing some really incredible stuff. He's been producing great shows all across South Florida for a while now, but his new stuff is really, really exciting, and we're glad to have the first little glimpse and conversation about it right here on SoFlo Comedy Insiders. I need everybody here in the audience right now to start putting your hands together for the man, Big Pedro. Yeah.
Beautiful intro. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, my man. And thank you for coming on the show and sharing a little bit of knowledge for everybody. We've been having a really, really great stretch of people that we've brought on to interview that have all had one thing in common, and that is they produce great shows. And that's something that you absolutely share with every single guest, because not only do you have your writer's room, but some of the things that you do adjacent to that writer's room, like the other shows that you produced there, the roast battles that you've produced there, the roasts that you've produced there, are all super top-notch quality, and something that I think a lot of people can aspire to kind of emulate to an extent. So I kind of wanted to get a little bit more insight on when you started in comedy. How long have you been doing it? And like, what was it that like got you into it? What made you want to like do stand-up?
We got a two-part answer on the how long you were doing comedy. The first time I ever grabbed a microphone with the actual intent to make people laugh, I'm not talking about like a best man speech or a graduation speech or anything like that. On stage to make people laugh was 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first time. I'm the same way all the time, right? So I used to work IT for AutoNation, just cutting up in the office all the time. And every day, there was one lady named JT, Janina Taylor. I hope she's good. I haven't talked to her in a long time. But she's the one every day. Pedro, you got to try it. 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 So one day, I actually went online to see when Gary Owen was going to be at the Improv. It was around the Grind the Pepper days. And I just missed him by like 2 weeks or so. And he was clicking forward to go see it. And I saw there was a comedy writing class at the old Seminole Hard Rock Improv in Hollywood. Yeah, way back in the day. Shout out to my instructor, Will Watkins. He's in New York. His wife's a fashion designer. He's doing great. But that was the first time. And then a combination of my kid being too young for me to leave the house and COVID kept me off stage for almost 4 years. And I've been back at it hard since 2021. Mm-hmm. I think I've done somewhere in the area of about 1,200 sets in the last 4 years. So we've been grinding.
Nice, man. Yeah. Nice. And so what was it about stand-up that when you first started, I mean, like you said, you were always chopping it up, you were good, but like, did you ever do performance prior? Like as a youngster, or like
a little bit as a kid? Remember, I grew up in the 1900s, man. Right. So the, unless you were living a little bit of an alternative lifestyle, you really didn't do much of art school. I wish if I could go back in time, I'd have been in arts high school 1,000 times over, right? Mm-hmm. But my mom said my first words was "Here's Johnny," because it used to be my first like phrase was "Here's Johnny." So I've always loved live performance. I did some stuff in high school, a little bit in middle school with some stage things, and I'm the family orator. So if there was my parents had a vow renewal, I had to talk. The eulogies, I have to talk. All that kind of stuff. So I'm used to being in front of people. Plus, I got a little memorial tattoo on my arm here. My dad was a DJ. And as soon as my voice changed, anytime we had a gig that had anything with any introductions, weddings, anniversaries, anything of that sort, I had to go. And that was my job. I would introduce people. So I got very comfortable holding a mic at a young age. But as far as the stand-up is concerned, always loved it. In high school, when I turned 17, my mom and my sister took me to Def Jam. They were on tour. I've seen Patrice O'Neill live. I've seen Joe Coy. I've seen Russell Peters. I've always loved comedy. And luckily, had a little bit of a natural ability to write jokes. So that's kind of where we're at.
You said you were the family order?
Yeah.
So you're good with your mouth.
I mean, yes,
and your family knows this. Okay, that's good. All right.
It's a badge of honor.
One of the things I wanted to, we've introduced you kind of as a character on this podcast. We've talked a lot about the stuff that you do.
Yeah.
But we always kind of call you the Willy Wonka of South Florida comedy.
Yeah.
Because the flyer that you put up for your writer's room every Tuesday, Kelly Brothers up in Fort Lauderdale, every Tuesday you have an amalgamation of comedians come together and form a new hive mind. Give us a little bit of background on that. Where to start?
A couple things, Ben. And this is not just South Florida comedy. From what I understand, we've got friends in cities all over the country, right? Comedy's a little cliquish and can have little, issues here and issues there.
Right.
I try to stay above all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So the kind of thing, it's a very collaborative effort. And we want everyone to feel comfortable and come. Whether you're a new comic, you've been doing it for 30 years, you've just been thinking about it, it doesn't matter. Come out, and at the Writers' Room at Kelly Brothers every Tuesday, where their show starts at 8, a Miami 8.
Right.
But you come in with new material, and then, like you said, crowd think. We hand a wireless mic around, and all of the comics in the room help make your set better. So we've made people funnier, faster.
Yeah.
Because, you'll get it if you're a comic and you stay at it, but we've sped up that process a little bit. And the collaborative thing, everybody leaves there feeling great after because, you've helped, you've been helped.
Right.
We've had a couple beverages, so it's a good time. Come out on Tuesdays. It's a really good time.
Yeah. There's been a couple of guys that I've seen up there who have, basically tried something new on that night. And over the next couple of weeks, polished it into actual material. Like, I don't want to say they weren't funny, but they had jokes at the end. You know what I mean? I'm like, dude, that's good. Like, that's what you're supposed to do. Like, you're supposed to write jokes so I bust their balls a little bit, but I was glad to see it. They did a couple of weeks of Writers' Room and came back with actual material, and they're swinging for the fences now. So it made me happy to see it.
The kind of the joke is because there's a lot of people that have taken the classes at either the Improvs or there's Sadman up in Boca. There's a couple other spots that have comedy classes as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's undergrad. And then you come to graduate school at Kelly Brothers. I also do consults. So if you holler at your boy at Mr. Big Pedro, MRBIGPEDRO, no punctuation, on all of your socials, if you are looking to get a little funnier and want some one-on-one writing, performance, all of that kind of assistance.
Nice. And one of the funny things that I love to see with that writer's room is that, like, when it started, I remember I went out there one of the first times that you guys started that room and you were kind of getting it going, and the collaborative nature of the environment wasn't nearly where it is now. Like, I remember it,
time to cultivate.
Yeah. I remember it being, it was like we were writing kind of like amongst each other. There wasn't too much of a crowd. Now I just recently went back and it was amazing seeing kind of the structure and, like you said, the culture that you've kind of cultivated with that vibe where it's like everybody who's a comic is legitimately listening with intent to give feedback. Yeah. So it creates them being an audience member. It gives them like a reason to watch. It's not just like watching someone do your set. Do their set over, and the fact that you force people also to write, where it's like, come with new material. We don't want to hear you do the same thing over again, or if you're coming with a joke, it should be it should be like the rendition of something that you worked on last week. Sharpen it up, try something new. Like, you don't give us the same thing over and over again. Forcing people to get uncomfortable is something that a lot of rooms don't do, and it's really great that we have one like Kelly Brothers that does give you the opportunity to try that.
Well, it's a couple of things that we did. You said that the first thing was that comics are notorious for going outside. If you got a mic going on, and let's say there's 20 comics there, 12 of them are outside, right? And a lot of times with mics, especially if they're on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you don't have a lot of civilians there. It's the middle of the week. So you're the audience. If you're the comics, you're the audience. So I implore comics, if you're at my mic or somebody else's, try to stay inside.
Yeah.
All right. Try to stay inside. You may be able to provide one of your fellow comics with a tag. They may tag something for you when you're on stage. We need eyes. Yeah. All right. This is not something, if you're practicing music, you can sit in a room with your guitar and just play the notes. We need eyes. We need people to know if what we're saying actually works. And that was one of the things that was like, so if you want feedback, you got to stay inside so that you provide feedback, and it's a reciprocal type thing. So that was the idea in the beginning, and it's grown. It's grown from there. We had 28 comics and a room with like 45 people in it last Tuesday because we had some civilians come through as well. So it's growing. It's been fantastic, and we're expecting it to continue, on the route that it's going right now.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
It gets lauded by a lot of the comedians. And the last thing I'll say is one of the things I love about it is that it brings people all the way from like Homestead there, and it brings people all the way from West Palm Beach there. It's a nice center ground where you get a lot of cross pollination, and I get to see people that I usually don't get to see up there. So it's pretty lovely.
Yep, we've had some people from out of town come down. I've had people from Orlando. I've had people from Jacksonville. There was a guy that came from Louisiana. So it starts just if you're funny and you're friendly and you're consistent, things tend to work out.
Nice.
Yeah.
The one of the things that kind of leading from the writer's room, one of the things that you've had a lot of success with has been the Florida's Funniest competition.
Yeah.
When was the first time you performed on that? And talk to us about this last time, because you got passed on to the next round. So
yeah. So 2023, I went a few seconds over and I got disqualified. So I told myself, I planned for it. So it's comedy is like anything else, especially with competitions. You got to practice and be ready for it. I winged it in 2023 and I went overtime. 2024, I had it down to a science and we got all the way to the finals. Didn't win, but I was in the top 10 in the entire state. And we started out, I think, with 300, something like that, something around that number there. So yeah, love the improv stage. The energy in the improv is always great. There's a difference between open mics. This is for new comics that are listening right now. Between open mics and a comedy club. All right, so the open mic is there for work, it's to work out things, it's practice. The club itself is showtime. It doesn't matter if they're calling it a New Faces or an open mic or whatever. Yeah. That's showtime because you got 300 people plus in front of you that are there for comedy. So just work off of the vibe there. Make sure your stuff is tight when you get there for that time. I practiced over and over and over again. But yeah, stiff competition. We've got great comedians down here in Florida, not just down here, the entire state. So happy to be in the top 10. We'll see if I come back to try to win it again next year.
So funny you say that. We just interviewed Chris Cilio, and he said something very similar to that, where about like a tourist, for example, stage or a bar stage compared to when you're at the improv, and these guys are there to watch you and look at you, and how it kind of boosts you up a little bit as a comedian. And then the other thing I'll say, as far as on the kind of making it to that next level for next year, I mean, I remember that kind of 2-week period before you had the semifinals and then the finals, that you were coming out and you were doing your sets, and I'm like, hey, you want to do 10? You're like, no. And you were doing like,
I was doing exactly
you
what
were
I needed
practicing.
to do for that time.
Exactly. Yep. So good on you, And how about next year? I mean, what, you're going to be applying again?
We're 50-50 on it. More than likely, I'll be peer pressured into doing it again. Plus, I haven't won it yet. That's the thing. So I mean, I got close. So yeah,
so there's still unfinished business.
Yeah, pretty good chance that we come back.
Heck yeah, man.
Good to hear. We're scooping it. We're scooping it right here, right now.
Try to hoist the trophy this year. Absolutely.
As you should, man. As you should. Absolutely. So you've been producing shows now for a few years since you've come back to the scene, like around 2021, like you said, and now you have a newer show that just started up.
Yep.
Or that is going to be starting up this week, guys. Actually, so. If you are looking for something to do on Wednesday night, guys, there is a show happening over at Knockers, which is it's the venue connected adjacent to Tootsies.
Correct.
So if you're heading down I-95, you'll see it right there off of the highway. It is super, super accessible, and it's going to be a fantastic show. Pedro's planning to pack that thing out, and for you guys out there, not only will you be getting, access to local comedians, but hopefully some bigger names, some out-of-town guys, right? What's happening out there? Tell us a little bit about it, and what are some of your visions and goals?
Sure. So there's a few things that kind of fell in our lap, right? So that room's been there before. Tootsies is a South Florida staple. Right? It's a gentleman's club. Anyone, you drive past it.
It's a gentleman's cabaret.
There you go. 100%. But they have a really large room in the back that can hold a sizable amount of people. It's going to give a whole nother opportunity to everyone in South Florida, all the comics in South Florida. It's also going to give an opportunity for us to bring in some folks from elsewhere. Improv does a fantastic job of bringing in comics, but there's only 52 weekends in a year, right? Yeah. And we have the 2.5-ish kind of improvs right now because Palm Beach is still not full up and running yet. But even still, that's still 150 comics. Even if you count one going to each weekend, there's way more than 150 comics that are worthy of having a 300, 400 seat room that's there. So we're happy to have that opportunity. It's also going to give the opportunity for South Florida comedians to perform with those comics as well. And you never know who sees you. I think it was Luis Diaz was taken with Tim Dillon.
Yeah.
Because he saw him, he performed, he liked the set and thing. Well, you never know. So we're just going to give some more opportunities to folks. It's a really large room, which is always nice because comedy is a group thing. Same like, think about it this way. If you watch The Avengers in the movie theaters or you watch it at home on your TV, in the movie theater, it's more fun. Because you're surrounded by the energy of other people. That's what we're trying to do in the club there. Plus, you get free entrance into
the cabaret.
Let's just say Shangri-La.
Yeah.
At the conclusion of every show. So it's just a nice little extra tidbit on there. Also, drinks are quite cheap there. It's like a $10 average for a drink.
Yeah.
And if you're there before 8 o'clock, it's half off.
Nice.
So come on out, have a beverage with us, tell some jokes or laugh at some jokes, and support South Florida comedy, man. We got some good people down here.
One of the questions that Sebi always asks in relationship to venues and stuff like that, about how they are. So I want to hear more about that in a second. But the biggest thing for me is you could not find a bigger brand to partner with in South Florida than Tootsie's.
True.
You know what I mean? So shout out, if I understood correctly, Tall was involved in that? You, Del, I mean, you guys kind of...
It's me, Del, and Manny. And then there's one guy who's a really, really new comic. His name is Berserk. That works there already. He's their hookah guy. And he was kind of
that's
like...
Tall.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
See, I only know him as Berserk. And he's in my phone as Berserk. I know him as Berserk. So he assisted with that. He's helped out with some other things too because he knows the inner workings and got the DJ to put the banner up, things of that sort.
It's dope, man. It's dope because it's a bunch of people working together.
Yeah, collaborative effort, man. It's what we can't do this by ourselves. It's even 3 of us here.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You can't do this by ourselves, right? And we are down here. You can piggyback off this as well. The comedy community, the comedy scene was dead, around COVID time. And just 4 years later, we're really starting to prop it back up again. There's really big shows that are coming out. There's really good comics that are coming out of here. Some of the folks are going from down here, going on tour, things of that sort. So it's nice to have another spot. Let me put it. Plus, name recognition always helps.
Yeah.
And so, you hear Tootsies, you know exactly what that is. I do want to keep a little bit of delineation between the two, which is why the doors aren't open until the comedy shows are completely finished. They don't want a lot of back and forth going through there, which is completely understood.
We don't want that either. I mean, as comedians, we don't want that.
No. It's hard enough to keep people in the room to begin with, right? There's a huge lure that's next door. And April 4th is the first actual show. Now, the 26th that Sebi brought up is an open mic. We want everyone in South Florida to come out. Have a couple of beverages with us, come tell jokes, like I said, or laugh at them. But on April 4th is when it's showtime. We have Miami's own Fat and Funny. He's going to be headlining. I'll be on that lineup as well as Manny Holve, Sweet Feet Q, and hosted by everybody's favorite urban host, if you will, Pookie. Pookie F. Baby is going to be hosting that show as well. I haven't met a person yet that doesn't love Pookie. So come on out on April 4th. Come on out on the 26th. It's going to be a venue. I understand that we're running it, but it's literally for everybody. We're just trying to prop up the scene as much as we can.
And the reason I brought up Tom and the whole team and everyone that's working together on this is because of the opportunity that you mentioned. It's like it's geographically, it's right between both improvs.
Yep.
It has a space. The business that it's attached to and assigned with is profitable enough that it doesn't need you guys to succeed to stay alive, for example. Sure. And it could be a huge value add to them, bringing basically crowdsourced advertisement. But you guys being able to get 300 people, for example, in a room, that opens up even possibilities for brands like Cafecito Comedy and other people who can really just more brands collaborating together, bringing bigger. Like we just had last week, Luis Diaz and Have Nots work together at the Improv to film his first special. You know what I mean? So like what you're saying about the maturity of the scene, now you get these big brands that are standing up on their own, working together to produce higher and higher quality stuff. So yeah, man, I'm excited. Happy to see that you guys are really doing it,
We've actually reached out. We've had some preliminary talks with Cafecito Comedy already about having a show there. Also have chatted with the Have-Nots. So yeah, we want everyone involved, right? There, like I said, I'm Switzerland. If there's any kind of bickering going on around comics, keep it away from me, right? We're here to laugh. This is our sanctuary here. Right? Our regular lives may have whatever BS is going on with them, but when we're together and we're telling jokes and we're hanging out, those are kind of our happiest moments. At least mine.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah, couldn't agree more. So with that room and kind of what you've established, is there any kind of lessons maybe that you've learned or taken from like your Kelly Bros experience and what you've been doing there that you're going to be applying to this new space?
Consistency is the first thing. All right. We've seen people get a new room and then it falls off real fast because it's consistent. You got to stay on it. And even if it doesn't start off gangbusters, start off blazing, you stay with it. Kelly Brothers is exactly that example, right? I took it over from a comic that moved to New York, and we were doing showcases there, and it was really hard to get people out. Really, really hard to get people out. So you pivot. That's the other thing. You need to be open to other ideas.
Yeah.
It may be your own, it may be someone else's, right? But you pivot on stuff. Consistency is heading in the right direction, but if it needs to veer to the left or the right a couple of times so that you get to the destination you want to, that's the one that we need to learn from your mistakes. So the pivoting is the learning from the mistakes. So we are going to 100% going to make mistakes, right? It's the first time any of us are running a room this large, but it's the stick-to-itiveness, and we're going into it with pure intentions.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, let me ask you this. If in a couple of weeks, if it's not going so well, will we see Manny Hulvit pivot over to stripping himself?
He's been trying to do that already. It's one of the things we're a tiny bit nervous about once we unleash Manny Hulvit after a show, and the Jersey guy is going to be in his glee.
So how you guys gonna make the money and then spend it the same night? I mean, I don't see a lot of that money leaving that building that night.
We're gonna have to make sure that it's electronic.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't deposit right away.
Oh man, yeah. If somebody's handing over large sums of cash, it's gonna be staying in the building for sure, right? But yeah,
I think that's the point. Like they know what they're doing.
Oh yeah, they're not dumb. They're not dumb.
They haven't lost money on a quarter in 30 years. You know what I mean? Like, they haven't.
Absolutely not. And remember, it's gonna be a Friday night.
Nice.
So as far as the entertainers are concerned, that's the all-star team.
Yeah.
There on a Friday. So.
Oh, they have 250 lovely young ladies ready to perform.
Yeah.
It's the nation's premier gentleman's club and fantastic lemon pepper wings, from what I understand.
No, dude, they serve lobster.
Yeah.
Fried lobster at 3 a.m. Fresh, deliciously cooked fried lobster at 3 a.m. Amazing. It's great.
I mean, when you don't lose money on a quarter in 30 years,
Yeah.
you have the margin.
You can afford.
You can afford to keep the kitchen running.
Oh, and their chicken sandwich, have a crispy chicken sandwich, like a fried chicken sandwich.
You know the whole menu.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's been there. He's been there. He's been there a couple of times.
You order
a long
takeout.
time ago.
You order takeout from there.
Right, exactly.
You just pick up.
A lot of DoorDash. I get
a lot of DoorDash. Yeah. You started working for DoorDash to pick up just from there. You just stand out.
If you're DoorDashing food from a gentleman's club, and I'm not saying the driver,
it's a gentleman's cabaret.
You're working, but if you're ordering food for delivery from a cabaret, yeah, there's other issues that are going on. In your life.
Just go.
Yeah,
just go.
Come on the 26th to the open mic, and get your wings there. And if you're afraid to tell maybe a significant other that you're going to be at a cabaret, it's time you go on to a comedy show. Yeah. You're not lying.
At Knockers, they can look it up online.
Exactly,
Absolutely. It exists. It has a real address.
It has a real address. Yes, the name is leading.
So there are tickets. What are tickets? What are we looking at?
So we have 2 tickets. We have VIP, which are going for $50 right now. That is preferential seating, and we're still working out some kind of drink specials with the club. And then regular Gen Pop's $35. So kind of on line with what a normal comedy show would be.
Yep.
But the drinks are way cheaper.
Yeah. Well, and it covers after the show.
Yeah,
you get
$20 value. Because if you came just off the street and decided that you wanted to indulge in some of the festivities, it's a $20 cover on a Friday night that is included in the cost of your ticket.
Yeah. Right.
So if you want to look at it this way, you're paying $35, but you're seeing Fat and Funny for $15 as far as the comedy is concerned. And you would have paid at least $35 at the Improv, and he sold out the Improv quite a few times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
And you guys are thinking this is going to be monthly, right? That's the goal.
Oh, we are doing this weekly. It's going to be Fridays starting out. We are working on a local bringer show, similar to a New Faces type deal. We also are working with some local headliners here to get them on the stage as well, and reaching out to some folks who are outside of the community too. Yeah, but we would love to have this by June or July, where it is a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, where we're bringing in national headliners every week.
That is awesome.
That's
very
cool. The plan.
Dude, from your mouth to God's ears, man. Like look, the room is available. You know what I mean? It's there. It's the size. It's 300 people.
Mm-hmm.
The brand. What comedian wouldn't want to perform? You know, the work you guys have done. You know, across all these rooms, across all these opportunities.
Yep.
dude, get the people. I mean, that's like really cool. That's something that could really stand the test of time. You know what I mean?
It's gonna be great for everybody. Because like, who's your favorite comic?
But let it go bad for like 3 weeks, so many strips. I mean, after that, we go.
Who's your favorite comic? Performing right now.
Right now, like probably Schultz.
Okay. And who's your favorite comic right now?
CK.
Louis. All right. Schultz. Possibility. Because he's now back in the working up material for his tour again.
Right.
So we actually did reach out. We reached out to Akash, but they're right there with each other. I reached out to Mark Norman as well, and they said, well, Mark's only doing theaters right now because he's working on a special, but in a few months he's going to be back to clubs, so that's where they start. All of us know you can't work out new material in front of 4,000 people.
Right, of course.
you got to work it out in the club so that it's good to go when you get in front of a crowd that size. So yeah, that is the plan. Is by the summertime that we've got. We're bringing 2 shows on a Thursday, 2 on a Friday, 2 on a Saturday. For someone that just there's not enough space at the other clubs. That's all it is. We're trying to give another opportunity.
But I'll tell you,
very cool.
And again, definitely, I know you're already doing this by reaching out to other brands and stuff. Definitely reach out to Cafecito Comedy.
Yeah, already did. Yeah. Already had a chat with Justin already, and
awesome.
we're certainly working.
The person I would love to see is Tony Rock. I think Tony Rock in that environment. I mean, obviously he comes to the Improv and he sells out there, so he doesn't need the. But if he's going to be down here on an off week or something, or just a couple of days, man, that would be killer to see him. Imagine seeing him at there.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, would love to have Joey Diaz down. It's something we're trying to make some inroads to as well. The Skankfest guys would fit perfectly there. Yeah. She's blown up probably too big now, but Nikki Glazer would have been wonderful there as well. But after the Tom Brady roast, I think she's priced herself out of
after the Oscars.
Yeah. She's priced herself out of smaller venues for sure. And good graces to her. I mean, that's exactly that's the dream. That's what we all want right here. Where 300 seats, please.
Nice, man.
The one other part of this kind of scene that we're here, I think the Fort Lauderdale Improv is your kind of home base Miami Improv. Do you have any kind of like, I don't say bucket list because it's not like it's very realistic. Do you have anybody that you think is coming down that you would like to open for, or is there anybody like that you think, man, I think if I could open for this person at the Fort Lauderdale Improv, that would be like.
Yeah, there's a couple of comics actually that I like absolutely love, and I'll watch anything that they actually. Roy Wood Jr. is one of them.
Yeah, I see that.
Oh, I love Roy Wood Jr. Anything Roy Wood Jr. does, I would love to be involved in. The Schultz is another one. Schultz would probably be the other one. It's a New York guy like me, big Knicks fan. And jokes are kind of edgy, so it kind of goes a little bit in with my style as well. So those two. 1,000%. And then the OG Russell Peters. Right? That's one of the. I do an Indian accent as well. Was one of the things that somebody gonna get hurt real bad. That's 25 years now almost. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, would love to collaborate with any of those three, and pretty much anyone. If you love me, or even if you don't love me, I'll open for it.
Just hit me up, and I got you.
Yeah. You're not picky.
No. Not at all.
Oh yeah, that's what's up. In closing here,
sure.
You got all these different shows going on. You're getting booked and doing things outside of your own productions all the time. Winning competitions. For you, where you stand now as a comic, what are your goals for Pedro the comic? Not Pedro the producer or the showrunner or any of that. Like Pedro the comic. Where do your goals kind of see you going toward maybe this next year and going into 26?
Sure, absolutely. So for this year, I'd like to film a half-hour special before the calendar year ends. Have the material, have it even sequenced and all ready to go. So as far as
Dart Vision,
exactly, shout out to Dart Vision. So my plans are to film that half-hour special, and then I would love to be on the road. I dream about it. If I'm sitting in a quiet moment, and for whatever reason, I always picture myself in a bus going to Dayton, Ohio, for some reason. But so those are my.
You'll be so disappointed when you get there.
All right.
After being on a bus.
After being on a bus for how many hours, right? But those are my plans for Houston, is to get on the road, whether it's opening for somebody else or part of a conglomeration, or who knows, maybe something blows up and it's me.
Yeah.
Right. But to be on the road, and I do really want to film that half-hour special between now and the end of the year. I think this is my own philosophy here. Live, I think an hour 10, hour 15 is fantastic. It's awesome. I love that. But as far as recorded sets, I think about a half hour is where Americans' attention span is now. Because I'm a comedy junkie, and I've caught myself pausing Netflix specials and coming back to it.
Right.
So, but to answer your question, yes, want to take the next level up, right? I think I have pretty good standing here in our South Florida community. I'm pretty consistent as far as my performances are concerned. So the next step would be to branch out of where we're at now and, head into the other states or go in New York, LA, Austin, all of those places, and to film that special.
Nice.
No.
Very good, brother.
Where any place in mind specifically that you think would be a good?
I mean, Knockers sounds like a great.
There we go. Okay, I was trying to see if the boy was sleeping on this.
Right? You can come out and watch me film my special, and then head into a den of happiness, if you will.
Yeah.
After we're done recording.
Whenever you do film that special, though, Pedro, you know where to reach out so that you can get that promo down, so we can pack that place out, man. Because right here on the show and on Comedy Calendar, we'll definitely be always shouting out anything that you got going on, whether it be the open mics or any of your weekend shows. When you start getting those headliners coming through, absolutely, we're going to be promoting it, and maybe we can even give away some tickets.
Sounds great to me right here.
Do some promotions. We'll give away some tickets because, we always love having you guys in the forefront of our minds, giving away some access to not only the cabaret, but also some really, really great comedy that you're going to be producing, brother. So
absolutely. In fact, there, Sebi, message me, DM me at Mr. Big Pedro. It's MRBIGPEDRO, no punctuation. And I will give away 2 tickets. So I will randomly pick from someone that DMs me. You have to mention Comedy Calendar or the showcase here.
Yeah, SoFlo Comedy Insider.
SoFlo Comedy Insider. Mention it in the DM so I know that you saw it from here, and I will give 2 tickets away from those folks that DM me.
Perfect.
Or a pic. A pic. You can send them a pic too.
Of Manny.
Of Manny.
A pic of Manny.
Shout out to Manny, man, for quitting smoking cigarettes.
But if anyone's apprehensive because comedy show, strip club,
it's completely
it'll be my
separated.
first time there as well.
Yeah.
So we'll go together and we'll see if management will give us a tour so we know what we're looking at.
Absolutely. And in fact,
if anyone's nervous,
if you want to come through and actually show everyone, we can take a little video of you actually walking the path, because you can avoid the gentleman's cabaret completely if you want to. All right, there is a wall in between Knockers and the Gentleman's Club.
Cool.
It keeps all the sin out.
Exactly. And you'll have 2 options when the show is over. You can walk out of the door there where you're on Miami Gardens Drive back to regular life, or you can take the door into the
heaven,
the den.
Right. So, guys, if you want to catch Art this Wednesday anywhere, you can catch him at Knockers. And that also includes, obviously, our boy Big Pedro, and I'll be heading out there as well. But, guys, I couldn't be happier to call you a colleague, Pedro. It's really fun to not only see the shows that you've been producing, but work with you on shows and watch you do your thing, man. You're one of the funniest guys down here in South Florida. You time and time again, you've proven, not only by coming out with new material, but putting it to the test and having it go out on the biggest venue. So huge shout out to you, man. Thank you for coming on the show and giving us a little insight on not just what you have coming up, but your past and kind of what got you here, man.
Greatly appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on. You 2 guys are 2 of my favorite people.
Thank you,
in South Florida comedy here. We're always smiling and laughing anytime we're together.
True.
So yeah, I greatly appreciate the opportunity. And come on out to Knockers, come on out to Kelly Brothers, and visit your boy online as well.
And crazy coincidence, that foundation I'm starting, and then the whole thing, we're going to talk more. This might be some way to...
Synergy.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you guys so much. And if you ever want to catch any of our shows, guys, remember to hit the links in our descriptions and catch all the shows that we've produced. We got a few SoFlo Comedy Insiders now. We also have Comedy Calendar running, guys. So you always want to stay tuned and we'll keep you posted, not only on what's happening in South Florida, but also what's happening with some of the insiders down here in South Florida as well. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Until next week, guys, stay laughing.